Hi guys, welcome to another video episode, a YouTube series of our JDM Dreams building my perfect 350Z. And as you can see, we're giving you something special today. We're going to take this car on and off track and show you what it feels like to drive. At the moment we're just cruising on the highway as we're heading out of Colombo. And I'm going to give you like a little description, a little feel of what this car is like. Alright, so what does this Nissan 350Z that we've converted from automatic to manual feel like to drive? Well, I don't know what it felt like, a Nissan 350Z, when it was brand new from the factory, but I kind of imagine that it would feel like this, and maybe a little bit better. The gear change is just absolutely fantastic. It is so smooth. I mean, I'm so happy that I went with this OEM shifter instead of the race shifter, because the race shifter just felt too racy, I would say. This gives it just that OEM plus feel that I'm looking for. The suspension is nice and tight. I mean, there are absolutely no rattles, no dings, no sounds, nothing. The car is just so smooth. I mean, we're cruising on the highway right now, and you know, I could just play some tunes, listen to that absolutely glorious noise of the VQ35, and just have an absolute blast touring this car for miles and miles and miles. It is just absolutely comfortable and absolutely fantastic to drive. So what about the performance? What does 270 wheel horsepower feel like on the road? Well, we're not going to unleash all of its fury, because that would be kind of irresponsible. So the plan is to take it to a track and see what it can do. But for the moment, let's just have a little taste within the speed limit. I mean, I think the noise of this car is one of the best things about it. The noise of that VQ35 is fantastic. And you know, when the car was an automatic, it had this kind of lazy burble. The VQ would rev up the rev range, you know, in a bit of a lazy manner. But now that we've done all these upgrades, the intake, the cams, the exhaust, and also especially the change of the final drive, the RPM goes through, it goes so much faster, in so much more urgency. The noise of the VQ almost feels like, even though this is a normally aspirated car, it feels like it's turbocharged. It is just absolutely, I'm in love with this car. I know, it's kind of biased to say that because it's my own car, but you know, transforming it from an automatic to a manual, and all those upgrades have kind of improved and developed the car so much, you know, that it is such a pleasurable driving machine. One of the things, you know, I always spoke about this build as being like a OEM plus build. Let me talk about one of the things that we did to improve this car from what it came from the Nissan factory. When I had it as an automatic, we were doing this long trip, you know. We drove to Nuwara, we drove to World's End, we drove to Hambantota, we drove back to Colombo. And what I realized was there was a lot of heat coming into the cabin through the shifter lever. And now it wasn't a manual at the time, it was an automatic. So it had the original plastic cover, but it was getting so hot, you know, because obviously Sri Lanka is a hot country and you're driving for mile after mile. And there was so much of heat coming into the cabin that the air conditioning, even though it was working perfectly, even though it was full on, you know, it was just not effective enough. So I told Ramesh about this, and he came up with a solution. Once we fitted this manual transmission, whatever gapping there was in the transmission tunnel where the engine heat was coming into the cabin, we covered it with a foam, you know. So we put this spray on foam that once it hardens, we shaved it away, and then we fitted all the plastics and all the thermal insulation and the shifter boot and everything on top of it. I mean, we've been driving now for half an hour, And normally this would be like burning hot, but I'm touching it now and it is cold, which is just absolutely fantastic. There is no cabin heat coming in, and it is such a pleasure to drive. So that is one of the things that we did to upgrade this car from how it came from the factory into an OEM Plus feel. Okay, so somebody was asking me, auto to manual conversion, how hard was it, what are the difficulties we encountered? Well, I must say that there was a week, that when we first did the car and I drove it, I wasn't happy, there was so many problems. There was a vibration coming from the prop shaft, there was a clunk coming from the transmission, and I kept taking it back to Ramesh, and he said, every step of the way, every problem that we had, we figured it out, that I would drive it again, then take it back the next day. And one of the things that, and we had finally sorted almost everything, and there was this one vibration we couldn't understand, so it was when I was accelerating, it was not there, and when I get off the throttle, there was this huge hum coming, and we couldn't figure it out, we were thinking it's the transmission, we were thinking it's the prop shaft. And then Ramesh investigated, and he found out that in an automatic 350Z, the cross member that fits onto the gearbox is actually the same cross member that they use on the manual car, but when you're fitting it from an automatic to a manual, you have to turn it the other way around, and Nissan have actually given an AT on one side and an MT on the other. So once we removed that cross member and swapped it around, the car was just absolutely like butter. It was just silk and so smooth. So yeah, I guess if you're doing a project and you encounter some problems, you must never be disheartened. You just keep on persevering and it'll be perfect in the end. All right, so I think we've done enough cruising on the highway. Next stop, let's hit the track and unleash these 270 wheel horsepower. I know it's not a lot in terms of car builds, because you get turbocharged cars which are producing 500, 600 wheel horsepower even. But for a daily driver, that you can have a little bit of fun in, let's see if this will tick all the boxes and satisfy all the needs of a petrol head. Alright guys, to test the true potential of my 350Z and to see what it can really do, what these upgrades to the engine, the suspension and the brakes all mean in real world driving, we're here at the beautiful Conway Autodrome in Mirigama, and I have my 350Z with me, an empty track, and I'm going to take you along as we get in the car and see what it can do. Now, a couple of things to remember. This car can drift, but it is not yet built as a drift car. And why I say not yet is because when we want to convert a car to drift, there are a couple of other upgrades that we need to do to the suspension, to the differential, to everything. So what we're here to test today is how much performance that we can performance. When I talk about performance, I'm talking about engine performance, about drivetrain performance, about the acceleration, the braking, and what this car can do at a track. And of course, bringing it to a track means that we can have fun responsibly. So let's get in the 350Z and let's see what it can do. All right, so let's take the 350Z around this Mirigama track and give it a little stick. 7,200 RPM into third. Oh. One of the things that just amazed me about this 350Z is just how much of grip it has. And thanks to this close ratio final drive, these hairpins are just effortless in third gear. It has so much of torque. Look at that. Oh, the G-force. I can feel the rear trying to slide. Wow. The brakes are just fabulous. Just switch the mode to give it a little fire on the gear change. Fourth gear, flat out into third. The noise is just absolutely fabulous. Let's switch the traction control off and play with it a little. I must say that front wheel drive cars, they're fun, they're pinpoint accuracy, but rear wheel drive cars really do require a little bit more skill, but they are so much more rewarding. Thanks to all the upgrades, this car will just do lap after lap with the air conditioning on, with the stereo on, and it'll give you so much fun. I started out as just a conversion of an automatic to a manual, and when I drove the car, you know, when it was in automatic form, yes, it was so nice, but as a manual car, oh, it is fabulous. And if you think that, you know, this car will be hard to drive and you're afraid, fear not. Nissan have built the 350Z with a fabulous chassis. It's low, it sits so close to the ground. The turn-in for a front-engine rear-wheel drive car is fabulous. The weight distribution of the chassis is superb. And then you come onto the straight and floor it after, and it just goes. So there you have it, guys. The 350Z build done and dusted, and we've brought it on the road, we brought it to a track, we've test driven it, and I must say that it is absolutely fabulous. I love it. I've enjoyed it so much. I've enjoyed the build so much. I've enjoyed working with all the guys who helped me along the way, you know, I'm going to try and mention as many names here as I can. If I do miss out anyone, you can check the description for everyone who helped. Ramesh from RK Performance, Akila, who supplied all the parts for the gearbox, the diff, Wataru from Japan, who sent the stuff, you know, Ranjaya from D Motorsports, who cleared it, the camera crew who have joined me, Inam, Lashen, Raceworks, Raceworks Media, Lashen Saroj, you know, and Prasad as well, and Sahan, you know, who was involved in the project, and Hisham from the JZ shop in Dubai sending us parts that we needed to, and yeah, so I know you guys have been commenting saying you wanted an on-track and off-track video, so you know, we've gone to great lengths and great effort to bring it to you. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and also let me know what more you would like to see done to this car, if anything can be done to it. Yeah, you know, with cars like this, there's always going to be some more modifications in the future. So yeah, that's it, guys. Cheers.